Good evening, people. Good evening. As I, Bio Gundam, and I'm back again for another video. So today, me and John Luc are going to be talking about dot hex sign today. So John Luc, introduce yourself.
Hello, people. Glad to be back. And yeah, this will probably be short and sweet, but still very fun nonetheless.
Yeah. Dot hex. Yeah. So, John Luc, would it be safe to say that dot hex sign is probably one of the first like anime that talks about being trapped in a video game, or was there stuff like earlier in this? Because I have a sneaking suspicion that this is probably like the first like actual example of like trapped in a video game. I know a lot of people think it was Sword Art Online, but no, it wasn't. It was most likely possibly dot hack.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, well, I would have to do more research, but just from what I've read so far and well, the information that I have is that Axine, like it came out on television in 2002, and like the author of Sword Art Online, Leiki, I think he published his first one shot for Sword Art for a contest like in 2001, something like that. But like these take time to actually write
Yes.
and prepare. And especially Axine is not just a TV show, like it's a
It's a
branching like
multimedia like
multimedia franchise.
franchise. Yeah, it's a multimedia.
So the
You gotta read, play the games, read the novels, watch the anime, go to the Vatican and read like the holy text written in Yiddish, like the whole shebang. Like, there's so much fucking lore to dot hack that like if we were to cover it all, we'd be here all fucking day. And
Yeah, but like if you take that for like into account, like all of these projects, you can include the Matrix, the movie in there as well. Like they all sprouted about the same years, like early 2000 to 2002 and 3. And what they all have in common is that they were inspired by all of the same thing because all of those projects got written or was at least in the head of their creator way before the 2000s. So they were most likely influenced by the same type
you
of
know what I think
stories.
you know what I think it is, right? Because like now I was quite young at the time, but you were probably old enough to remember this. It's like, during the 90s, there was a lot of shows out, about like, the dangers of like advancing technology. I mean, it was a little bit in the 80s as well.
Mhm.
But like there was this idea of like, the internet and like the technology, like Ghost of Shell, Digimon, all that stuff that talked about, the progression of like technology and all that stuff. And I have a sneaky suspicion that a lot of like, dot hack science, Sword Art Online, The Matrix was not in part like inspired by that, because like a lot of these creators grew up during the 90s, like maybe late 80s, grew up in that zeitgeist, because the 2000s were more about like the emo phase and all that shit, like like when it came to media.
Yeah, and like I'm pretty sure that Ghost in the Shell was one of the main inspiration for all of these projects, and yeah, like in like television or manga media, but probably the different video game. Because if we look at Axine, so Axine takes place in an MMORPG, so
Called The
it's
World.
something that started, yeah, that started in early 2000, and yeah, like the world. It's super cringe every time they stop mid sentence just to place emphasis on the world. Like it's not supposed to be a common word, but the title of the games, yeah, I get it, but it's kind of
It's kind of
super cringe the way they do it.
Yeah, it's kind of basic bitch. Like it feels like welcome to the world. Like it's a bit pretentious if you think about it. Like it's like some artsy fartsy
Yeah.
welcome to the world. Oh, okay. I don't think it comes like it. It's not pretentious, but it kind of comes off as pretentious. It's like this pretentious art piece. Like look at my art piece, the world.
Well, there's that, and there's also if you analyze a bit. Well, we'll get in the bits and pieces of the series soon. But if you look at the concept is early 2000, like it was the budding nest of like the internet of like online gaming.
Yeah,
It was something fairly new, and at that time we like the net was not as developed as it is right now.
yeah. It was the
Like
Wild West.
you're
I
yeah.
wasn't exactly into online gaming, but here's the thing: I was old. Like I've been using a computer since I was age 2, so I grew up, I was, I mean, I grew up watching LAN parties at computer PC at PC cafes and stuff like that. Wolfenstein and Medal of Honor and Battle. Like, I grew up around all the stuff, right? Like, the internet was a wild west adventure in those days.
Well, it was, and on top of that, what differentiates like today from back then is that back then the your point of access to the internet was like either a family computer at home or a computer at like library or a school. So like when you actually went online, there was all of this idea of getting into like what they're getting into like a accent is that they're kind of escaping their real life to go into another world. Like they just go there to forget who they are, what they're doing outside. And like it's kind of sensation that is a bit lost right now, I'd say, because right now our point of access to the internet is our
Everywhere.
telephone. Like yeah,
Everywhere.
it's everywhere. You can access the internet from your own pocket every time of the day. You
Yeah,
don't
it's
really
24. It's twenty-four
need.
seven, and like I know that me and you might be showing our ages here, right? But like in my day, it was dial up, like like that, and
Yeah,
me and
exactly.
yeah. I mean, we might be showing our ages here, right? But like, what? Like I still remember when we had a VHS. Like I am quite on the older. So I'm probably older than most people doing AnyTube stuff. But probably showing our ages here, right? But I remember a time when it wasn't like that. Like, listen, getting internet on your phone, like in the early 2000s, was like a pain in the ass, right? Because I think you could do it with certain phones, right? Like back in the day, but like it was just such a fucking pain in the ass and shit that most people didn't bother, and it was shitty like web pixel websites anyway. But like yeah, like the internet was kind of like this, and maybe for younger listeners they'll never understand what this was like. But the internet was like this wild place back in the day. It was kind of dangerous, it was kind of scary, but at the same time you would just get like lost in it.
Yeah, well, it was like it was hard to navigate because, well, first it was new. Like you didn't have any reference. Well, the computers were not as powerful as they are right now. So
No.
yeah, what you mentioned, the noise, you had to actually connect your computer to the internet. It was not something that was automatic. So you had to connect it and it had to actually send a signal through your telephone line. And then when you got back the signal, that's when you got back your IP address and then you were connected. So the modem made like a mechanical noise, really reminiscent of that period. And like you had to wait. So
Yeah, like everyone's
and
complaining about like TikTok and stuff like that. Well, back in the '90s, it took you like 20 hours to download like 1 megabyte of porn. It's like, oh.
yeah, well, didn't have to be porn, but like 1 gigabyte of something could take you like 2 days. Like,
Yeah, and like I can download a gig a minute, but anyway, depending on how the
yeah,
weather is, but like the technology has changed since 2001. Thinking back on it, like it's a blur. But going back to the figures, it's like the personal computer, like the PC, didn't really start becoming a thing until I would say like late 2000s, early 2010s. Like that's like where the internet really went mainstream.
yeah, and like yeah, so if we summarize a bit, like we can like, see that it's like a period of a lot of anxiety of where the technology is going, and people were trying to have a different life online. They were trying to separate like their hobby time and their well, in their real life and in online. But I think it was probably something more akin in the video game entertainment because it's something where companies were trying to spawn like not addictive, but that's later on. But shoot, forgot the word. Immersive. Yeah, so they were trying to create like immersive gameplay to bring people to play their game like longer. Yeah, nowadays it's done through like addictive marketing and cash strategies, to have you spend on the game and keep spending because you already spent, so you don't want
Yeah,
everything
dopamine
to
hit
go
and
to
all that
waste.
stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, back in the days, the MMO were basically a place where they tried to immerse you into an online world while creating a community online. Now we have like all of the social media thing, which didn't exist early
Yeah,
2000.
because like, listen, when I was
Uh,
growing up, like I think like MySpace was like the big thing, right?
yeah,
Like a lot of the teenagers I knew, like they'll go about MySpace and shit like that. So fuck this podcast to make me feel old. But you know, like just to give our viewers context, like a lot of the stuff like Facebook didn't exist back then when this was around. So you know, the internet was a
if,
wild time.
if you feel old, I think I'm close to twice your age. Like
Yes, you
it
are.
doesn't bring me younger. But anyhow, like, yeah, it was an interesting time, and like rewatching this series, it was really a good nostalgic experience. And I can say that this series has not aged poorly.
No.
It really aged well. Like, the graphic is a bit old, but they haven't started implementing CGI yet. So like, CGI age really bad, but like end drawn animation still holds up. Like
Yeah,
you
like
see
this
that
is
it's
like
old.
fairly good for a show that came out in the early 2010, like early 2000s, because
Yeah,
like some of those shows look pretty bad. Like this still holds up. It's not like the most amazing thing ever, but it's not terrible either. Like I think it's like fairly solid. And another thing I really like about Dot Hack Sign is it really does capture like the idea of like playing in a video game, unlike say Sword Art Online did. Like, you know, it kind of captures like the mystique of it, and also like you know, it
well,
just has like the sense of innocence about it as well. Like this kind of like wow, what is that? Whoa, cool, bro. Like, you know, it kind of
well,
has a little bit of that innocent vibe. Well, less innocent as it goes on, but we'll get to that later.
but of course, because Sword Art Online, like it's like it's not a video game series. It's like an isekai series without being an isekai, because like the framework like is the same. Like it like remove the fact that they're in a computer game and you can say that it's a fantasy world and a fantasy story, and that's
Yeah.
like it can really pass as a fantasy story, because all of the gaming element, it doesn't seem that like there was any research at all, because it's not believable. Like they just tell you, oh, they're in a video game, and that's that. Like the entire well, everything that's around it, like it does not work when you stop and think about it, but
Yeah.
usually you don't. So it works because of the suspension of disbelief. So
Yeah,
you
but
kind
like
of,
in Dot
oh,
Hack
okay,
Sign,
they're in a video game.
but in
Yeah,
Dot
but
Hack,
if you
yeah,
take if you go with Axine or
Log Horizon.
Log Horizon, or the newer one, Shangri-La Frontier, like you can see that those like they really feel like they are in a video game. Well, Axine is a bit different. Like they're because they don't put that much emphasis on the video game, because at its core, Axine is a drama.
Yes.
So yeah, I said that like Sword Art was more of an isekai soap opera one, but Axine is really a drama at its core.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
also like gets a bit into like psychological horror at times as well, and existentialism, which is like now.
mhm.
Before we continue, I'm just gonna preface like Dot Hack Sign has a lot of talking, like a lot of talking, and you know you just like it is one of those shows where like you know if you like the show and are paying attention, there's like a lot of good stuff about it, but you know you have to get used to the talking. It can grow on you at times, but like you know at the beginning, it's just like kind of like I mean I was watching it with a friend of mine a while back, right, and like we're just standing there just like watching it, saying nothing because we're so like mesmerized by it. And like you know sometimes you know when you watch anime, buddies like to talk about it. Dot Hack Sign is one of those shows. If you watch it with friends, you're just like kind of standing there like mesmerized, like watching what's going on, and just being like you know because this fucking show gets pretty dark at times, and but yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
veers into like the psychological horror aspect and a little bit of existentialism as well.
Well, it goes with what we were saying earlier. Like it was a time of like, and it's kind of funny because like Axine is supposed to be futuristic in a sense that they had a technology we did not have like in early 2000, but their world is essentially the period of early 2000. And it goes with what we were saying about the uncertainty of the technology, where everything was going. What are you doing with your life outside of work, outside of school? What places does like those game or hobby take in your life? Like, is it more important than the reality, or like is it just a side fun?
Yeah,
So
it's
it
just a
it,
yeah, yeah, because like
it plays with that.
but yeah, but anyway, I think we should probably talk about like what dot hex sign is about before we continue further with the character and
Yeah,
stuff like that. Now
I think we went. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna be back. I just gotta use the bathroom for a second. So you just introduce what dot hex sign is, and we'll just continue from there. So I'll be back in a minute. Just keep going.
All right. So, yeah, we kind of went around a bit to what led to this project. And actually, this project is the start of a massive multimedia franchise. So, it's not something that they decided to do afterward. It's something that was planned from the get-go. And Axine is the precursor or prequel to the first dot hack game. So what it is basically the story of players playing an MMORPG, specifically Tsukasa, the Wave Master, who wakes up in one of the dungeon with amnesia, so doesn't remember who he is, where he is. Remember that he was playing a game, but not too sure what happened to him. And then he kind of realized that he's not able to log out. So Tsukasa is a kind of teenager that has a lot of issue in real life, so uses video game as kind of escapism to try and find how everything works.
Yeah,
And
because like many people, I think both of us do it in some ways. Like, video games or doing stuff online is like a safe way to interact with people, right? In a way.
yeah, in a way, because the concept of having an avatar online in a chat room or in a video game is basically to put up a wall. So you kind of put a facet and you just interact with people how you want to interact in that specific media or game, and
Yeah, and
you kind of separate.
yeah, you can keep it separate, but like it's a way you can interact with people for the most part without being hurt or being fucked over. Because aside from the off chances, but you get what I'm saying. It is a way that
Yeah,
Subasa's kind of using the game as a way to interact with people and stuff like that, and kind of gets because as we learn later on, like Subasa doesn't exactly have what we'd call a very great life.
no. But yeah, either way to continue is basically Tsukasa meets up like a bunch of other players, and they all get drawn into his drama of having difficulty communicating with people, not being able to log out. And all of these other characters, what's super interesting is that all of them are like really detailed, and all of them have like a reason for playing or for being online that is different from everyone else. So it's really like they're not just like cookie cutter cut and paste players. Like they really have story about them, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I'd say my
it's a
favorite.
drama. So
I'd say my favorite character out of the group is probably Bear and Sora.
yeah, well, so Sora, like, yeah, he's interesting, but yeah, like in
Yeah,
the
the
gist of
funny
it,
thing
like,
about like Sora is that he's the main character in Dot Hex Sign, like the next game in GU. That's actually him.
well, he's not like he's not the main character. He's kind of the victim, because at the end of the series he's
No,
kind of
you're thinking of Krim, who's like you're thinking of Krim but like the guy
no.
the guy who plays as Sora, like the guy who plays the character, he's the main character in the sequel to this. Well, not the sequel to the direct sequel, but like dot hack GU.
Oh, okay, maybe GU because the X sign it's like oh yeah, okay because yeah I haven't played GU or read
Yeah, they don't
GU.
actually tell you automatically, but like yeah, the like Sora, like yeah,
Oh.
Haseo is Sora, by the way. Just
Oh,
later.
okay. That makes sense. Okay, so yeah, just to, if we like piece everything together. So Sora basically is like 12 or 13-year-old guy who's basically playing player
He's a
killer.
troll. He's like that fucking kid on Call of Duty. Like you suck, noob. Like he's that.
Yeah, like it's fun is to torment other online. So and basically he's doing it out of immaturity. And like every time another person, well, another character in the series like points that out, like, hey, are you a kid? Like he's kind of brush it off, but you see that he's taking offense out of it. And eventually at the end of the Axine series, basically the main, well, the kind of AI that's been causing Tsukasa to not being able to log out and like all of the precursor issue with the game that will eventually infect like the entire internet. Like that entity kind of corrupts Sora and have him like basically that AI does the same thing it did to Tsukasa. It traps Sora's mind inside the game and then force him to become the kind of monster that tries to disrupt and destroy everything. And yeah, at the end of the fourth game, like they kind of free him, and like you see that in one of the bonus episode for the attack sign, like he's kind of back with his old character and just interact with the rest of the cast. But yeah, it would make sense that yeah, if he grew up, start a new character in like
Yeah,
the
it is the same
sequel.
person. It's the same guy, but like just later down the like where he's like in his late teens or something like that, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, but
Well, people grow up.
yeah, exactly. I mean, also the guy who played Krim, the guy, he's also in dot hack GU under a different account as well. But anyway,
Huh,
yeah, he's
interesting.
yeah, he's a yeah. You even see Silver Knight in the dot hack roots. You even see Silver Knight and dot hack roots like once or twice, like around. But so the interesting thing I liked about Bear is that like you find out about all the stuff about like his son and his marital like his issues at home and stuff, and you find out that he's like this like older mature guy. I mean, you kind of guess that the way he plays and acts, but you never know like online.
Oh, I tried to pay attention, but they never tell what's his actual job, right?
I think he says an author.
Nor for what was that?
Author, writes books.
Oh, author. Okay.
Yeah, it's probably how I pronounce it, like author.
Yeah, like yeah, I didn't catch it the first time, but yeah. Let's see. Can we find a wiki
I think there is a
somewhere?
wiki for this because, like as I
Uh,
was saying before, like the fucking dot hack sign law is complicated.
Yeah, because like they kind of make the bear's job, they kind of make his job more of a mystery than the actual mystery of the series.
Yeah, they're like, what is he really? Is he secretly an assassin?
Well, at first I thought he was a detective, but they quickly ruled that out. But I thought he was maybe a teacher. But okay, offline. Oh, he's a famous author. Okay.
Yeah, what I kind of find interesting about him is that like he's starting to view Sukasa as like a surrogate like child in a way, which is kind of interesting because
Yeah.
like things are so fucked with like his own family, and they don't like immediately point it out to you, but they do like it is brought up in one episode where it's like, oh wow, I actually do view that like Sukasa as like a substitute child.
Yeah, and like the beginning when they start talking about that, it's as if they point out that it's a bad thing, but at the same time, like if Bear's family is defective and Tsukasa's family is defective, if they get together to form like a working family, then that's good for them. Like
Yeah, I actually think it's mentioned that like Bear like adopts Tsukasa in real life and
yeah, well, in the last episode or the one before, like it does give Tsukasa because Tsukasa is eventually because of like yeah because online it's a guy, but the mystery is that like in real life like
he is a
it's a
she.
girl, and basically from the look of it, like she I'm not sure like if her mother just passed away or
I think
if
the
like
mother's dead, but like very abusive
yeah.
father, like very fucked home life, like incredibly fucked home life.
Yeah, so yeah, he's not a nice person and led Tsukasa down like the wrong path. I think at one point you see her shoplifting. So and after that, like her father, what does he do? He beats her up. So like she does bad thing, he beats her up. She does good thing, he beats her up. So like she's really not in a good situation. And eventually, when Bear trace her back to an hospital, well, he does mention that she did have a lot of bruises on her when she was brought to the hospital. So they're worried that it was not just like caused by a video game or like her coma was not caused by a video game. It might have been like from abuse, and like her father wants to like unplug her
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
So,
So,
Father of the Year, ladies and gents.
yeah, so yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
honestly, she traded up. She got like a better dad.
yeah, so eventually like she has like a version of going back to the real world, and then Bear just at the end gives her an option. So here I'm not obligating you to like to be adopted by me, but like it's an option. Like if you want to leave like the abusive family that you have, like you have a second option. So you don't have to fear going back into the real world knowing that it's gonna be painful again. So like giving her the option is what eventually leads Tsukasa to be able to go back to reality. So
Yeah, because I think
and
after like, because Tsukasa goes some pretty dark places in the show. Like, I think the one fear that Tsukasa has is that when she goes back home, Daddy's just gonna get the belt out again, and no wonder, no wonder she wants to stay in the video game. Makes sense.
yeah, and the other thing, like Subaru is also a very interesting character. Character that comes in later in the story, and she kind of like eclipse everyone else
Yes.
because she kind of creates a really huge bond with Tsukasa, even though like she doesn't know that Tsukasa is actually a girl. Like she doesn't care because it's Tsukasa's character that touched her, and like even for Subaru, like she's at the head of a really big organization in the game, and the fact that she never really leveled up her character really shows that for her playing the game was not the main goal. It was really like the interaction with the people,
Yeah,
and
and I
also the
think in a
fact
way, like trying to have a bit of agency, because like with not Subasa, but the
which character.
where is the girl with the
T
angel wings and the giant fuck off axe that get like the chick?
the what? Mimiru, BT, you have Subaru, you Elba.
Oh, Subaru, yeah, the Subaru. That's who I'm thinking
Oh,
about. Yeah, the leader of the Crimson Knights.
yeah, that's who I was referring
Fuck,
to.
I'm a moron. Yeah. Well, what I also figured is partially get some like agency, because we find out that she's like stuck in a wheelchair, right? Like she has to be like wheeled
Yeah,
around. I partially feel that maybe she did the Crimson Knights thing to have a bit of agency as well.
well, exactly. Like, well, all of the character, like, they have a different motivation for being online, and that's what really great about that story. Like, it's not just a drama based on one or two character. Is the entire cast has some issue, and they are using Tsukasa's case to deal with those issues. So it's and at the end, like culminate in a lot of resolution, a lot of character find out more about themselves, about others, and they are able to move on in life because of the event that transpired in Act 9. And yeah, the fact that Subaru is like stuck to wheelchair, like for her going online, and the fact that this video game, like it's not quite like in Sword Art Online where your actual nerve system is
It's not.
hijacked
Yeah, it's not
and
like Sword Art Online or say Infinite Dendrogram, right? But
yeah, but it's a kind of augmented reality in a sense. Like you put a helmet on your head, and then you will see like a bit better than virtual reality right now.
yeah,
Well, yeah, I think it. Yeah, not augmented reality. Yeah, I think it's similar to virtual reality because they are really in front of a keyboard and a mouse, and but they see like this like gaming world like they would see in real life. So and like the series, what is also really interesting because there's a lot of verbiage, there's a lot of blah blah everywhere, but there's also a lot of not dead screen, but like and not silence because you always have music, but sometimes you just have like a panorama of location in the game, and it just stays there for maybe 20 seconds.
yeah.
Like it's not something you would see.
Yeah, it's very like serial experiments late in a way. Like it's
Yeah.
just showing you a scene, like it's like a painting, right? Like it's showing you a scene. You think like,
Hmm.
what did the show mean by this, right? Like it's a bit like that in some ways. Yeah, but
And
like,
also like the room where Tsukasa is well takes refuge, where
oh,
like
it's almost
the
like fucking Alice in Wonderland. Like it reminds me of like
yeah.
Alice in Wonderland. Like it's very kind of like picturesque in a way, but at the same time, like there's just something like kind of off about it that you don't really know what it is.
Yeah, but like in that space, you have like a bed with a girl that's sleeping there that is like, well, eventually, like it's the child of, well, it's an AI, but it's kind of the child of another AI and the creator of the game. So it's kind of funky. And like she kind of is not awoken yet. And every time Tsukasa goes into that room, the room is like a bed with the girl floating on top of it, and then the rest of the scenery always change depending on Tsukasa's emotional
Stay.
yeah, emotional condition. So it's really interesting, and like the rest of the series does the same. Like the visual is really basic, but at the same time it's really meaningful, and it's a lot. It's a big contrast with the anime industry we have today, where, well, even the movie industry, like in the West, like everything has to go fast.
Yeah.
You have to, like, people have like shorter and shorter attention span. So you need something that moves. You need like to always have someone that speaks, even if it's not important. You always need something to fill in the silence, fill in the void of the screen. So it's really yeah, in contrast, because back in the days you had more series that were not more artistic, but that kind
They were
of
more willing to give
conveyed
you.
things.
I think they're more willing to give you stuff to chew on, right?
Exactly. So they gave you things to actually decipher while there was like a lack of conversation or a lack of movement. So, and like it really goes into symbolism. So, and in this series, it's no exception. Like they and like just gonna touch on the music, like the
Yeah,
music.
because yeah, we're gonna
Uh,
probably wrap up in a bit, but like the
uh,
music of this,
yeah,
like
but
I fucking love Fake Wings. Like that song is great. Sweet some. Forget the lyrics, but like it's a very great song. Like the music of this, like this is some of Yuki Kajira's best.
Yeah, I don't remember Fake Wind,
Fake Wings. There's also like
Fake
Eve of
Wings.
Twilight as well.
Yeah, that one is great. What was the other one? Yeah, Key of Twilight. Oh, I think it was Aura.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Aura. That like that song is psychedelic. Like it's maybe not psychedelic, like, probably not the right word, but it's like it's really dark when you listen to the lyric. Like it's all in English, so it's like it's easy to understand, and but at the same time, man, it really speaks a lot, and like there's a story in that piece, like the story of like Tsukasa needing like the AI or the video game, but like not realizing that the solution is within Tsukasa, but like the video game doesn't care that Tsukasa is lost in her emotion and psyche, and just use the game as a way to escape and to not face her issue. So the game doesn't care, and Tsukasa, like, she does not understand that the answer is within herself and just facing her issue, and because she doesn't care about her issue, she just wants to avoid it. And so like that kind of 4 verse song is really strong, and like the kind of dark tone that goes with it, it's kind of I think it's my best.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I just like Fake Wings and Twilight of the Moon because like the scenes they play it in, especially when it's like Tsukasa and Subaru, like
Mm.
they just look cute together. Like oh yeah, and then like the ending song stuff where she's like kind of like naked, but like is obscured by shadows. If you ever see like the ending song, God.
Yeah, well, I think I kind of prefer more the ending song than the opening song.
I
The
like the OP song, but I like the ending. Like I came to like the ending song a lot more.
Yeah, well, the ending song kind of grows on you because it's a bit smoother. Like the opening song is
It feels like the opening to a
really,
disco song, like dun dun
yeah.
dun.
Well, it's kind of like disruptive. Not sure if it's the right word, but
No, no. What it
like
is I
dissonant.
no. It's because it just kind of comes at you like dun 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 dun. Like it comes to you like really super aggressive, while the ending it kind of like eases
Yeah.
you into it.
Yeah, well, there's also like the sound. It's a lot like keyboardish. So, well, it's a lot early 2000, but yeah, like you said, it's really aggressive. So, watching it, like I kind of normally I don't skip the intro, but like after a while I skipped it because, okay, like this is like way too much to just binge watch again. The song is great, but in repetition, it's like a bit too much. But the ending song, like it kind of grows on you. Like it's a smoother sound, and usually the episode never really ends on the cliffhanger, really. But yeah, it's not like other series where it always end in like a cliffhanger, and you have an ending song that is more rock and roll. Yeah, that one is just smoother, so it listens better.
Yeah, I think we kind of roughly talked about most we want to talk about. I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail because, like, if we did, we'd be here like all fucking day. But
Yeah, but probably the only thing I want to mention quickly is actually like the meaning of that act sign. It's like it's the sign of what's to come. Like it's actually something that is happening within the game that will corrupt the game and eventually the internet. But just to bridge a little bit on the video game that comes afterward, like first part is infection, mutation, outbreak, and quarantine. So it's kind of the concept of like the phase of a virus. And I kind of just for fun tried back the game again because my memory of it was not super good. But after replaying it, yeah, it aged. Compared to Dot Axine, it really aged poorly. The graphic and animation for the game is not super great. Specifically because like Outsign give you the impression of immersiveness. Like you go inside a world, you have like beautiful panorama and everything, and like the game, everything looks bleak. Even though like Outsign, it kind of always looks super spacious, super empty. It goes well with the music, with the tone of the narrative, but like the video game, it kind of like you have ugly graphic in an empty space. Like it doesn't feel good at all. But the system that it used to actually recreate the impression that you're in a MMO online game without actually being online and talking to real people is actually good. Like that part is still good, but I think what gave me the impression that it was a bad game from my memory is the fact that, well, like I said, it's four different PS2 game, but it could have been a single one because they all have like the exact same system. They all have, well, the same gameplay. You port your game from one to the other, so you basically continue your game, and they're like
Yeah, it
30,
kind of reminds me of
40
like
hour each.
it kind of reminds me of like Final Fantasy or Baldur's Gate back in the day. We had like multiple discs, so you're like, oh fuck,
Yeah,
gotta put the multiple disc. Like they could have just done that, and that would have been like far easier than just releasing three, four separate games.
yeah, they could have, but they didn't. So I think I got tired after playing the second one, and then I just
Well, after
never
that point,
played
like you're just like,
the
why the
third
fuck
and
am I
fourth.
buying this? It's just
Well, I did buy all of them, but probably at the time I had other things to do. So yeah, probably went to other game, other hobbies. But the other thing that I'll just mention briefly, I was not able to rewatch them. Well, didn't have the time, or when I thought of rewatching them, I kind of forgot. So all of these games, the four game, came with an anime disc. So it came with like a 30-minute, or the first one was 45 minutes. Well, it says on the cover 45 minutes. I think the others are half an hour. So basically, they are an anime episode of what with like different characters, because like the game dot act like it's different character from dot act sign. You do have some cameo from time to time, like of a secondary dot act sign character, but like in those OVA, it's like different character from both the game and Axon that are in the real world and that are dealing with what's happening. And basically, you play the first game, you watch the first OVA, then you play a second game, you watch the second OVA, and it kind of gives you an idea of what's going on in the real world while shit is happening in like the video game. So yeah, so really interesting from that point. So they really not wanted from the get-go to create a multimedia experience. Probably like nowadays it's easier to do so with how much it's easy to get access to product outside of your country. But back in the day, like I think they really tried to get most of the product like outside of Japan. But for a lot of them, well, it was still Japan exclusive. Probably some like manga or like other side product. But yeah, it was supposed to be an entire experience. But yeah, I would say if you want to watch the tax sign afterward, you could probably just check the OVA, like the dot act liminality. They are really good. I think, well, from memory, they were really good. More on the drama side again, but yeah, because the game I don't really recommend playing through them. Probably watching a recap online. Probably better, like something that was more difficult to do back then, but nowadays there's not walkthrough but playthrough of older games on the web, so it's probably findable somewhere. But if not, I think they did, and they do a remaster of the .gu.
Yeah, they did a
That
remaster GU.
Yes, that I'm probably interested in maybe checking it out. So I'll
Yeah,
probably
I've got to
put it
like
on
I've got to sit down and
my
play
wish
GU.
list.
I've got the game. I just have to sit down and play it. Like I'm currently playing for like the Persona franchise right now. Like currently slowly playing through that. Like I played like Persona 3 and Persona 3 Reload. Now I'm playing Persona 4 Golden.
I haven't gotten really in the person. But yeah, I know like I have a few friends that are really fan of Persona, so I've heard a lot about it, but kind of never. Well, no, I think I did. Yeah, I think I did maybe play a bit of Persona 3 back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, yeah, probably try GU some other time, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Same
I'm
here,
not
man.
sure I would replay the entire or first game. Like it's
Yeah, fucking up. Plus, you can
yeah,
find the cutscenes like online. Like I'm pretty sure people like have made
yeah,
like so I don't want to go into too much detail, but the issue is that like there's so much fucking shit going on. Like it's really complicated if you pay attention to it. Like and that's just in the anime. That's not excluding like the fucking extra side material content. Like, but yeah. Overall, just to wrap this up because it's supposed to be like kind of short and sweet. Overall, I think Dot Hack Sign is a very solid show in anime. Like, I think it's definitely worth a watch, but, you have to be careful. Like, it's very much very talky. It's less action, more talk. And it definitely gets a bit, like,
yeah.
with the psychological mindfuckery shit. So it's a little bit like Serial Experiments Lane in a way, or The Matrix.
Yeah, it's an older style story. Like you have like a lot more silence, a lot more dialogue, less action. So yeah, it's really depend on what everyone likes. But yeah, I really still recommend it. Like watching it 20 years later, still had a really great time rewatching it. Like it's still a really great story, really great drama, and like a lot of what's spoken in there, even though like our technology has advanced quite a lot, like the issue the character are facing are
Is
still relevant.
yeah. Also, like it's a bit. It could also serve as a bit of like a time capsule as well in some ways.
Mm,
Yeah, time capsule in its own ways. Yeah, I think that's about it.
no, I think well, I'll just say like see ya next time.
All right. See you all. See you all next time. Peace out. Bye bye for now. 3,